ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another 1/6 scale third-party unlicensed figure unboxing and review video. Now today we're going to be taking a look at none other than the ToysWorks The Guidance, and for those of you who aren't in the know, this is Trinity based off her appearance in the Matrix series. Now yes, ToysWorks have given us a few figures so far. We've got an Agent Smith, Neo from Matrix 2, and of course Morpheus as well. Trinity is the last, for me at least, that I'll be picking up in the Matrix line. I kinda have the core cast, and that's enough for me. Then again, I'm saying that now, but if a totally badass figure comes out in the future, we'll have to wait and see. Nevertheless, I picked up mine from toyswonderland.com. The link for that is of course in the description below, just for your reference purposes only. This is a review, not a promotional video, on a third-party unlicensed product that I purchased with my own money. Now as you can see, the box has unfortunately taken a beating. Just like we saw with the Toys Era Robin, this came in an outer shipper, which was bubble wrapped, which was inside another huge double ply cardboard box. I honestly don't know what the postal department are doing with these packages. I understand they're under a lot of stress due to the pandemic, but still, to have stuff arrive in this state is less than ideal. So fingers crossed, wherever you are in the world, your postal service treats your items with a little bit more care. But at the very least, Toys Wonderland packed these things with so much padding that honestly I didn't think this was even possible. Nevertheless, what we're gonna do now is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. And here we have the box art for the Guidance herself. As you can see, a huge piece of damage right up here on the front. I honestly don't know what the Postal Service are doing. Yes, we have to cut them a little bit of slack, but this stuff, in my opinion, is just unforgivable. It looks like they've literally stopped the van, opened the door, drop-kicked this particular box outside, and then just abandoned it. Obviously, that's not what happened, but that kind of looks like what they did. Nevertheless, let's talk about the image on the front of the box. You can see a nice glossy representation of Trinity with the Matrix sort of text floating in the background, but this time we're seeing a nice blue effect, and I really like the way it looks. Of course, on the back, same exact thing, and another huge piece of damage. Now, opening up the box itself, you can see Trinity up front and center, and I have to say there is a lot of gloss going on here. I wouldn't be surprised if this outfit is pretty much entirely made of pleather, and it does appear to be the case. Nevertheless, we'll be putting this figure through her paces, but first glance, honestly, it's pretty darn positive. Yes, some of the ToysWorks figures have been a little bit hit and miss, but this one doesn't look too terribly bad from the offset. Now you can see she does come with a few more pieces. It looks like one of her guns is in about 1 million pieces, but don't worry, we'll fix that up when we take a closer look and everything she comes with. And here we have all of the accessories that come with the Guidance. Now, if you've already happened to have caught my previous ToysWorks videos, you'll see that some of this stuff is pretty familiar. Talking about, of course, the display base. It looks pretty darn good. It's a nice up-to-date Hot Toys style display base, nice Matrix print over the front there, and of course, no nameplate. Say what you will about the no nameplate fiasco. Compared to what we got with the Robin figure recently, I'd honestly rather this. And this display base style, honestly, I'd rather have come with the Neo from Hot Toys over that huge sort of diamond-shaped thing, that monstrosity that he came with. This is my personal favorite style of display base, and in fact, I've already put his one in storage and given him the display base that came with Morpheus. Now, taking a look at some of her weapons, as you can see, she does come with a katana. It's really nicely done, and it does feel like a nice cold die-cast blade there, which is a really nice touch. The tip is rather sharp though, so be careful not to prick yourself. I do also like the detail down on the hilt there. It isn't a nice fabric wrap, but still it's painted, sculpted and detailed fairly nicely. Now she does come with 2 pistols. You'll have to let me know which variety of pistols these are. They look like Glocks, but then again, the little extended barrel on the front there kind of throws me off. Nice little sight on top as well, and yes, you do have a working action and a removable magazine with a painted bullet. Really nice, very basic weapons, but still, they will get the job done. They are a little bit fiddly, however, as you saw in the unboxing segment. They can sort of fall apart if you're not careful. You have to line up all of the bits just right to get them to go back together. I'll have to do that off camera because trying to do it on camera is a little bit of a pain. You can see she does of course come with her glasses. You'll see these on the figure a little bit later in the video. And finally, last but not least, she does come with a couple of interchangeable hands done in this really nice glossy black paint. They will of course perfectly match the rest of the outfit. So without further ado, what we're gonna do now is get Trinity herself out here and take a closer look. And here we have the Toys Works guidance herself standing straight up and down the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. And I have to say, honestly, at first glance, I'm really liking the way this looks. It's hitting all the right notes for me. Is it Hot Toys quality right off the bat? No, it isn't. Just like all of the other Toys Works figures, it's kind of Toys Era's lower tiered line. It's a little bit cheaper than some of the other Toys Era products, and it's under, of course, the Toys Works banner. I've liked the previous releases. I haven't loved them. The Morpheus came really close to being the best in the line, but for me, I kind of almost want to give it to this figure right here. The articulation is fairly good, which of course you'll see a little bit later in the video. The head sculpt, in my opinion, is almost bang on. I'd give it maybe a 90% likeness. There are a couple of other little things here and there which I don't quite agree with or understand why they did, but still, as an overall package, I'm really liking the way this looks. So what we're gonna do now is take her off the rotating turntable, punch in, and take a closer look at the details. And here we have Trinity up close and personal, and I have to say, there is a lot to unpack here, so we may as well begin. That head sculpt with the glasses on looks pretty darn good. I can see the likeness there. Yes, they are a little bit warped out of the box, but nowhere near as egregious as the ones that came with the Neo from Matrix 2. Those were horrible. They didn't look good at all. These actually look fairly decent. Now, taking them off, I can really see the likeness there. It looks pretty much as it did in the promo images, which honestly, with Toys Works, it can be kind of hit and miss, but I really like the way this looks. All the way down to the sculpt of the hair at the back, it's nicely detailed, the skin texture is there, and the eyes are a nice piercing blue. What I don't like, however, is the skin tone mismatch between the body and the sculpt, and that's kind of a byproduct of this being an off-the-shelf body and a custom-designed head sculpt. Yes, they could have matched the tone of the head to the body itself, but then it would have been slightly too pale. This head sculpt has a little bit more life. It looks like it's an actual living person, where the body is just way too pale. I don't know a way to get around that without just swapping out the body, which is of course something you can do. Now, moving down to the trench coat, it's a really nice piece. It's a high gloss pleather. Yes, that does mean that it might get creased, but in real life, this would as well. It's a patent leather style material. This zip is absolutely enormous. I am considering snipping this off front there and just leaving that sort of base piece of the zipper. There's no need to have this big dongle hanging off the front there. It just looks a little bit silly. But the rest of the jacket looks really good, all the way down to the arms, which nicely mesh to the gloves themselves. There is a bit of a tone mismatch. It's a little bit darker and a little bit more matte, but still, I love the way it looks. You do have a wire running out the outside layer there and also around the bottom, so you can get some really nice windswept style poses with the jacket. Now, yes, the pants are fairly basic. They're just a pleather style pant, but it's accurate to the film. What can you say? It looks good. There is a nice level of gloss to it. You can see it is sort of getting wrinkled and creased, but that's perfectly fine. That works for me. As I said, in real life, this suit would do that very same thing. Now, what I can't forgive is this one big error. There's no split cut boot design. I don't know why. In fact, they didn't even make the boots out of pleather. These are a solid plastic style piece. That means you get pretty much no articulation at all. You get a little bit of flex, not even forward and back, just a little bit side to side, but of course they don't stay that way. They just spring back to the neutral position. Why wasn't this a split cut design? I'm not entirely sure. Why wasn't this made out of pleather? Also, I'm not entirely sure. It's just a weird oversight for me for a character that kind of is known for doing those crazy acrobatic style poses in midair, yet you can't get her toes sort of pointing down, you can't get her running, you can't get her in a nice A stance, just looks a little bit goofy. Is that a deal breaker? Not really, it's just a little bit of an annoying thing that's playing on my mind whenever I try and pose this figure in a badass pose. Nevertheless, the rest of the outfit, and in fact, that head sculpt as well, kind of hitting all the right notes for me, I might just be willing to forgive the error on the ankles. Now for a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have the ToysWorks Trinity standing alongside Neo from Hot Toys. As you can see, big size difference between the two, and that's kind of par for the course with this ToysWorks line. We've seen them all, we've seen how much smaller they are than the Hot Toys Neo. Either they used an overly large body for the Hot Toys figure, or they're using overly small bodies for the ToysWorks releases. You'll have to let me know down in the comments below if you think this is accurate or not in your mind's eye, or if you've got the facts and figures on both actors and actresses' heights, let me know down below. Nevertheless, this to me works perfectly fine, but honestly, this Trinity mostly will be standing alongside the ToysWorks version of Neo rather than the Hot Toys one, so then again, this subtle change in height between the various different figure lines doesn't really bother me personally, but then again, it may bother you. And here of course we have Trinity standing alongside the ToysWorks Morpheus. As you can see, once again, significant height difference, but this is a little bit less jarring compared to the Hot Toys Neo. He doesn't look so overly large. This works perfectly fine for me. Lawrence Fishburne, a little bit taller, so this, as I said, works for me. In my display, these two will be standing side by side, so now that I can see what they look like standing together, it looks pretty darn badass. And yes, you will see a couple more dynamic poses with Trinity a little bit later in the video, so definitely stay tuned to the end. And here, of course, we have the ToysWorks Agent Smith, one of the better figures in the line, granted, but the fact that they did go ahead and recast a Hot Toys head sculpt still leaves a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. Nevertheless, a little bit of a size difference, not as tall as Morpheus, but still, I do like how this line has come together. There's a sort of varied height between all the figures. They're not all using the exact same body, which is a nice touch. I don't like it when they rinse and repeat and use the exact same body for all the different height classes, for all the different actors and actresses. They are different heights, so I'm glad that ToysWorks have gone in and put in a little bit of effort to get the heights at least semi-accurate. And finally, here we have Neo in his Matrix 2 / his priest look, and as you can see, once again, height difference between the two, but nowhere near as drastic as the Hot Toys Neo. Which one do I prefer out of this Matrix 2 Neo versus the Hot Toys one? Hands down the Hot Toys one. I like the head sculpt better, I like the paint apps better, I like the outfit better, I like the accessories better, I like the body better. So there are so many things that the Hot Toys one does better, but if Matrix 2 is your jam, and for a lot of people I'm sure it is, this is kind of your only option thus far. You could get the Hot Toys one, use that body and head sculpt with this outfit. That could be your way of kit bashing a semi-official figure, but for now this is kind of your only option, and these two look pretty darn good standing side by side. I honestly just wish they'd focused a little bit harder on the Neo head sculpt and gotten the glasses just right, because the one that he does come with isn't all that great and the glasses were absolutely horrendous. Nevertheless, these two make for a pretty badass pair. Just going over articulation on the Guidance herself. Now bear in mind this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm sure when you get yours in hand you can push the joints a little bit further than I'm willing to go. Now starting off with the head sculpt, as you can see, it's on an absolutely enormous range of motion forward, back and side to side. One of the benefits of having this style of body, yes, unfortunately the skin tone isn't 100% perfect in terms of the match, but to be able to do that and go back, that is absolutely awesome for an acrobatic style figure. Now the arms go up to about there, forward pretty much all the way. You will have to futz with the outfit, but it's pretty much as unrestricted as you'd expect. Butterfly joint up there, swivel at the upper bicep. You do of course have a double bend there at the elbow, which is really nice and stiff, and of course a regular 1/6 scale joint at the wrist. Now for the torso itself, you do get a fairly limited range of motion. It is a multi-layered outfit, and it is made of pleather, so you can kind of expect there to be a little bit of restriction. As you can see, you still get a little bit of range of motion. Now for the legs, they are really done restricted, but you can move the outfit up to get slightly more range of motion. Going out to about there, swivel at the upper thigh, double bend there at the knee, and of course, this being a fixed solid piece, you kind of don't get any articulation at all for the ankle. Just wrapping up on the Toys Works Trinity figure. Now going into this review, I didn't really know what to expect. I saw the promo pics obviously, and they didn't look all that terrible, but they didn't look fantastic either. But now, having this figure in hand, I can say that I'm pretty darn impressed. Yes, it's not 100% flawless. I don't like the choice of body, specifically the color of the neck piece. It doesn't quite match the head sculpt, it's a little bit too pale, but then again, I really do like the range of motion you can get with that particular body, so it kind of is a bit of a catch-22. I like the way it works, but not the way it looks. It'll have to be up to you to determine if one of those pros outweigh the cons, but for me personally, I'm still gonna pop this in the display. It looks good, I love the head sculpt. It's pretty much a bang-on likeness, I'd say almost a 90% there, at least for me personally. The outfit looks fantastic, super high gloss, it looks like proper patent leather, but then again, it doesn't restrict the range of motion. You can still get some pretty darn badass poses, and of course, this is Trinity, so you'd expect to be able to pose her in some pretty crazy acrobatic poses, and that you can definitely do. Is it the best in the line so far? Honestly, I think so. It can stand pretty darn confidently alongside Neo, especially if you're swapping out that body for a Phison one. You'll even further upgrade the range of motion while potentially matching the skin tone a little bit closer to the head sculpt, but as it stands, still in my opinion, I recommend it, just like I do for the Morpheus. As for the other figures, check out the reviews for the rest of the Toys Works Matrix line. They are live on the channel. If you are looking to pick up your very own Trinity, she is in stock right now with ToysWonderland.com. This is by no means a promotional video. I've purchased this product off Toys Wonderland with my own money. Link is down below just for your reference purposes only. While you are down there, why not check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the awesome Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.